What is up, everyone? It's Thomas with Real Broker here in St. Augustine, coming at you live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. We're going to go over the market stats. We're going to go over the news that you need to know about if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in our area. And at the end, I try to keep it towards the end. I do a question and answering session. So if you do have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below. I'll answer them live. And if you're watching after, I'll make sure I come back to answer those questions in the comments as well. One thing to note, next week, I'm going to be interviewing Christopher Shee, who is the owner of Mastercraft, which is a new construction builder here that is very highly valued by a lot of the people in the industry. So next week, I will be interviewing him. So if you do have questions regarding new construction, regarding development within St. Johns County, make sure you let me know whether it's within a comment below or if you reach out directly and you want to know something, I will make sure to ask that question when I interview Chris Shee next week. I'm super excited for it. So I'm hoping it's going to provide a lot of value to you guys out there. So first things first, I don't know if you guys noticed, but check out the fit. I have my new shirts here. Got the brokerage on the sleeve. It looks all right. Oh, wait, there we go. Okay, boom. So it looks good. I'm liking it. It's nice and light. Maybe a good fishing shirt. We'll see what happens. But let's hop right into the first news story here, guys. I'm going to share my screen like I always do. Oh, wait, you know what? We got to do the stats. What am I doing? Got to do the stats. Let me share my screen here, and we'll cover the stats. Okay, going to hop into the MLS. All right, so let's take a look here. I'm going to maximize this screen here just so we can see. All right, so over the last 24 hours, we've had 183 new listings hit the market, and we've had 124 closed, okay? And then on top of that, we have 183 new listings, we have 145 pending, and then 58 contingent taking backup, so almost a one-for-one there. And then with the new listings, we also have 211 price changes. So just as many price changes that there are new listings coming onto the market. And we're seeing more of these, which is expired, which means that the contract that the agent had with the seller of that current home expired. The home didn't sell. Maybe the sellers decided to take it off the market for a little bit. Maybe they wanted to go with another agent. That contract ended there. So we're starting to see more of those creep up into our market recently. So let's take a look at the total market. What's going on here? How many homes are on the market? Active on the market, we got 6,291. Now, I bet if you went to this time last year, that number was probably around like 3,500, maybe a little bit less than that. And we hit a peak over the summer, I think, maybe late summer, we hit a peak of around 7,000 homes. And typically when it hits the winter months, there's not a lot of people that want to have people coming through their house during the holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. So a lot of people wait until the new year comes around. And then really people start getting into the new year. The selling season starts at the beginning of spring and then goes through summer pretty much. That's when a lot of people find the time to move. So I imagine that number will start creeping up here as we get over to the spring market. When people really want to start putting their houses on the market, because they're trying to time it as well, right? If they need to sell their house in order to buy, that's a little bit more complicated of a process. So they're going to put their house on the market, right? They're hopefully going to get a contract, and they're going to try to put another offer on another house with, hey, I need to close on this house in order to buy this house, so I need a little bit longer of a time, and hopefully that lands in the middle of summer so that they can take the summer off and not have to worry about moving and finding another house and selling their house. So yeah. Let me hop over here and we'll go into the new news story, which I thought was pretty interesting here today. And I've been following this like I do every week, guys. One big thing that we got to talk about is going to be mortgage rates, right? So if you've been following, inflation has been going down. CPI is down. That's only down like a 0.1%. So I'm not like cheering or everything, but it seems that the market's cheering. Seems that mortgages are cheering for this. And every time, I'm sure if you're a friend with a real estate agent on social media, they're letting you know whenever mortgage rates go down a 0.1%, they're letting you know. It's pretty amazing how quickly we get that information. But mortgage demand jumps nearly 28% in 1 week as interest rates drop to the lowest point in months. So we know that, beginning of last year, this time, I think interest rates are around like 3.6, maybe 4%, which is a great interest rate compared to what we have today. We're around 6.25 for the most part. Um, it's a that's a big change, obviously, in affordability and just that interest rate, what that changes. Not even the purchase price, but just the interest rate, your monthly payment, and how much interest you pay over the life of the loan. That makes a huge difference. The difference between 3.6 and 6.25. But that 6.25 is actually a relief compared to what we saw in October. In October, they got up almost to the 7.5. In October was the highest it got, and then it started trending back downwards, which also at that point, October, really, that's when inflation was probably at its peak. And that's when the news of the housing market, interest rates, and the Fed going to raise the federal funds rate really started to pick up steam in the mainstream media. So mortgage demand jumps nearly 28% in 1 week as interest rates drop to lowest point in months. So that's a pretty good jump. Applications for mortgage to purchase a home increased 25% week to week, but they're 35% from lower than this time last year. But that makes a lot of sense, though. When you think about the interest rate last year was 3.6%. If you had an interest rate higher than that, you're probably trying to refinance and lock in that great rate before it went away. And I don't think we'll ever get back to that point, unfortunately. I wish we would, and I wish housing prices would go down too, but I don't know if that's going to happen here in our area. It doesn't seem like it. One thing, as we talk about interest rates here, something that I'm seeing, and I'm a pretty social guy. I got my YouTube thing going. I got my Instagram, whatever, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. I know what I'm doing when it comes down to social media. I follow all the major agents here in the area. I'm friends with a good bit of them. And multiple offer situations is something that I'm seeing tossed around a couple times now. I'm pretty surprised. And I was actually showing a home to a customer yesterday, and they let us know, like, hey, there's an offer on the house. The offer ended up dropping away, but that could have also been another multiple offer situation that I would have been dealing with. So I'm hoping that our market doesn't go back to that, honestly, because the multiple offer situation of what it was last year was like, hey, throw money at the problem. It doesn't matter. Throw cash at it. See how much more you can go. Forget about the appraisal. Will make the difference. Whereas now buyers and sellers have a lot more negotiating room, so it's more of a fair deal. Last year, buyers just kind of felt like they were getting the shaft. This year, you have a lot more leverage, and sellers still have a great opportunity in this market too, because you're still getting top dollar for your home. I mean, if you bought your home 5 years ago, you're good. You're making good money on your house. So either way, if you guys have any questions about the market or interest rates, go ahead and leave me a comment in the comments below. Tripping up on my words here tonight. Sorry about that. Debbie coming in. I think it's hot. I think it's nice. Got the logo here. It's like the lightweight shirt that you'd work out in. I try every time I close with someone, I try to give them a brand piece too. So hold these up here. Get yourself a Living in St. Augustine hat. Obviously, I want people to wear my stuff, and they can wear it to the gym, mow their grass, whatever they want to do. I wear it to work out, So hoping to get more cool stuff like that. And then I'll just be wearing my brand all the time, everywhere. So let's head on to the next story. I appreciate the compliment, though, Debbie. Really do. All right. So going to the next one here. And this one is going to have to do with development here in our area, right? If you're living here in St. Johns County, you're tired of hearing about development. St. Johns County commissioners deny intermodal exchange project at County Road 214, which most people are not familiar with, just to be 100% honest. If you were to look at County Road 214 on a map, it's going to be pretty rural. But if you're familiar with King Street is an extension of 214 in a way. So if you go through West King through West Augustine, you will be on County Road 214. Give me 1 second here. So as you can see here, West King, the extension actually goes right through here by North Holmes Boulevard, and 214 goes down here. Now they wanted to put an intermodal project right over here, and it actually got denied because it said that the area was too residential. Now, guys, I'm pretty familiar with this area. Um, right around the corner there, Morgan's Cove is a D.R. Horton community, home starting in like the 350s for new construction. So that is a slightly, and there's a couple homes over there in the back, but really that's rural area. And then if you're familiar with Holmes Boulevard, I mean, on that area they have like a metal recycling factory. They have like a warehouse for boat repairs and stuff like that. It's pretty industrial, storage facility, things like that. So I was really surprised to see that they turned this down. And the reason that the people were pushing this plan is because this would bring, I think, almost 900,000 square feet of one industrial area that could add some more jobs to St. Johns County. Now, I've covered this in videos before. St. Johns County doesn't really have much of an industry outside the hospitality industry. The biggest employer in St. Johns County is going to be the public service. So I think public administration, which has to do with like, the staff for schools and, the public buildings and all that, that's going to be the biggest employer. And I think it's followed up by like Flagler Health Plus and then also the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office. They have like 1,000 employees that work there. So those are the biggest employers here in our area. We don't have anything else. Really, historically, St. Augustine has been a suburb of Jacksonville. So people went up to Jacksonville to get the good paying jobs, to go up there, commute there, and come back and live in St. Augustine. So to me, this just seems like a wild thing. I feel like, that area, yeah, is it turning? Is it starting to turn a page from rural to residential? Yes, but there is already some light industrial over in that section. So the fact that it got turned down and that it's gonna, it could be a place that could have supplied some more jobs here in St. Johns County. I just don't understand it, to be honest. If you have a different thought, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you guys think out there. But I think that this would have been a great move for St. Johns County just because we need some jobs, aside from the hospitality industry, it's all pretty much government work, which I'm not dogging on that at all. But, I'm going to go into another news story here about teacher pay. I was just talking with the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office. And obviously for them, that's also a problem as well. The cost of housing here has gone so high that their officers are having a hard time affording homes here. So how does that's a conversation I had with the sheriff. How does St. Johns County make that job of being a sheriff in St. Johns County so attractive that people are willing to commute from other counties just to work here? So we're definitely experiencing some growing pains as our county starts to grow here, and this is definitely one of them. So it's pretty interesting, but oh, the wrong thing here. So let's see here. I'm going to switch over to my next news story here, and I've talked about this in the past couple weeks, maybe about a month ago at this time, and this is going to be about teacher pay. Right now, teacher pay is something that I think is very important because they're educating the future of our country, right, and the future of our county, future of the state of Florida, right. St. Johns County teachers plan to protest pay by only working 7.5 hours they're paid for, nothing more. Now, if you've been following this like I have, St. Johns County's teacher union, for the first time ever, and I think they've only been a teachers union for 30 or 40 years now, they actually denied an increase in their pay because it just wasn't enough. So they banded together and like, hey, we could accept this or we could let this pass. And go for more. And they decided to just like, hey, we're going to go for more. So for the first time in the entire history of St. Johns County Teachers Union, they denied a pay raise. And that's because it just wasn't enough. It was pennies. They didn't need pennies. They want dollars. So the average pay for a teacher in St. Johns County, not factoring in like experience and everything, is around $51,000. And anymore, that's really tough to live on here in St. Johns County. So they're obviously fighting for more. And what they're going to do is they're going to say, hey, there's a lot of hours that teachers work that aren't necessarily on the books that we're getting paid for. We're doing a lot of work outside of those hours of school for the kids, and we're not getting paid for it. So now with this pay increase, if you're not going to give us what we want, we're just going to work the 7.5 hour day that we're required to work. Now, it's such a hard thing because they're obviously talking about people's kids here in the community, but at the same time, these people all live here in our community, and we're not really helping them out. They're reaching out saying like, "Hey, we just want a little bit more money, just a little bit more," and it's becoming a problem. So for St. Johns County, St. John's school district is the number 2 school district in the entire state of Florida. To me, it seems like they need to work something out. I mean, if you want to keep in that top 5 spot of school districts, I feel like you need to have some incentive, especially in today's world, to attract good staff and talented staff that's going to teach these kids. So I have no problem paying for teachers getting a pay raise, firefighters, police officers, sheriffs getting a pay raise. I have no problem with that. I'm 100% on board. I'd prefer to do that than sending more money to, Ukraine like we've been doing like crazy. But let's not go down that path. I don't want to talk about politics, guys. Just politics about teachers, right? So let's see. I got some comments here. Let's see. My life. What we got going on? Why is Sebastian Lofts have low HOA Golden Lake Loop? I'm sorry, my life. I don't know what you mean by Golden Lake Loop at the end there. Um, I think I have an idea what community you're talking about because I know the road, but they don't have very many amenities, so that's probably why. But prices lower than other development. Have sister that wants to move there. Yeah. So I mean, the little condos, garage condos. I think they're great little condos. I know that in certain buildings that they have there, they did have a roofing issue, I believe. That was a problem for the whole HOA. It was like a certain set of buildings that was built a certain way, so that became a litigation process. I'm not sure where that litigation is now. It could be completely over. But when there's litigation on a community, on a homeowners association, it makes it very difficult to get financing because the bank looks at it and they're like, "Yeah, I'm not touching that." So you have to go with a more local lender. So I know like there's another spot, Old Town Villages is right over here. If you're looking at a condo, you probably saw that as well. It's on 16. It's just down the road from where you're talking about. Um, they had litigation because when they built the condos, the stucco and the windows, something with that allowed water to get into the units. So the HOA ended up suing the contractor. They went into litigation. They were battling it out for years, and apparently it's getting resolved now to where that's not an issue. But if you look at condos over there, I mean, at one point you can get a 2-bedroom condo in there for like $130,000. So and that I'm talking within the last like 3 years, and I mean even still I think their 3 bedrooms are just over 200. So it's not like it's that different in a price. But I appreciate you asking me a question here in my life. Thank you for tuning in. If your sister needs any help, just let me know. I'd love to be able to help out. So on to the next news story. I only got one more, guys, because tonight I actually promised my wife I would cook her dinner, and then I also forgot I had a live stream. So I didn't cook dinner, and I'm gonna have to do that. So she's not mad at me. So you guys know how it is, but I'm gonna do that. So don't worry. But let me share my screen. This is gonna be the last one here, and then I'll see you guys next week, of course. But if you have any questions, fire them off below. I'm here to help. If you do have any questions about new construction in terms of any of the process, some things to look out for, let me know in the comments below because I'm going to be talking with Chris Shee next week. Now, look at this. Florida real estate bombshell could destroy a lot of wallets. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed law last May aimed at protecting condo residents in wake of Surfside collapse. So unless you've been living under a rock, I'm sure you guys saw that one condo building collapsed in Surfside, and it was pretty devastating. I know a couple people died, and it was because the structural integrity of the building was compromised, and they weren't doing the checks that you really need to do. So Ron DeSantis essentially signed a bill and said that every 10 years we need to have structural checks on all of these condo buildings, and that if there's any repairs over $10,000, then that needs to be funded through the reserves. So essentially what he's doing is he's going to be bumping up the reserves of condo associations based off of law. So anyone that's bought into a condo association that has any outstanding maintenance, could be running into a heavy bill because at the end of the day, that assessment will always go back onto the homeowner there. So if something does happen where they have that structural test, they look at things and they say, "Hey, you have a problem with X, X, and Y, and it's going to cost you $100,000." Let's say 100,000 is nothing, but let's say it's going to cost you $500,000. Well, the reserves for that community need to be at $250,000 for that year. So according to this bill here, now it's very vague, so that I don't know the ins and outs of everything, but essentially with that, it's going to make it you're going to get an assessment if there is something wrong with your building, right? And that could be a pretty sizable one if they're looking to fill those reserves very quickly. I'm sure there's going to be more on this later. I don't know as of right now because this is all very very new, but it's something I'll definitely keep up on because that's going to affect anyone looking to buy a condo here in the area, something low maintenance, something that maybe they want to buy as an investment or an Airbnb, or just use while they're a snowbird. They want to come up, they will come down when it's cold up there and go back up when it's hot down here in the summer. But that's going to affect their monthly payment, right? If they're going to be having assessments thrown at them because of this law, and that'll also increase the difference between the both of them, right? So if you're looking at a single family, a condo, and a townhome, and you're weighing the three of those, well, if I just told you like, oh hey, this law was just passed with Ron DeSantis, and it's going to actually potentially increase your monthly payment, I don't know what that could be. It's a big question mark, right? Um, that's going to push people away from condos. 100% it will, because who wants to hear that? Like as a real estate agent, be like, oh hey, by the way, Ron DeSantis passed this law, and I don't know what the situation is. We could talk to the HOA board and get the financials and everything, but if something does happen down the line, then it is what it is, right? So they're going to look at that situation because there's a lot of unknown variables there, and they're going to compare that to owning a townhome. They're going to compare that to owning a single family home, and they're going to see that there's a stark difference there. And maybe it's just worth it to go the single family home route versus the condo route. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I think honestly, that's detrimental. I think what's happening with that, there has to be some more law going about it. Now, this is just me taking it. I read this article a couple hours ago, but I'm going to sit with this a little bit, see how I think about it. But if this happens, right, and condos are going to become less and less popular, that means that housing inventory essentially is going to be anyone that's building new housing is going to be looking to do single family housing instead of condos, because at the end of the day, it's going to be harder to sell. It's going to be more red tape around it. And in today's world, we need more multifamily housing like condo buildings, like townhome communities. And they're just not building them. We have an affordability issue here in St. Johns County, which is what we're talking about with the teachers, talking about the sheriffs, the firefighters, all those guys, all the public administration. They're having a hard time affording a house here. Now, if we had other options for people, more condos, more townhomes, more of that high density housing, that would allow people to get their foot in the door with housing, because then they start building some equity, and they have a stable monthly payment. It's not changing at the whim of a landlord. That's what I think needs to happen. But with this law, this could make it a lot more harder for people to get into the door. So I'll keep up on this, guys. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think that's a very interesting thing to know, especially if you're looking to buy a condo here in the area, because that could change your payment drastically. And it's something that I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what that would be or what could happen because this is very new. This is developing now. So if you have any questions, if you're watching this on the replay, make sure you leave them in the comments below. I'll try to get them answered the best that I can. But guys, it looks like I'm going to round it out here for the night. If you do have any other additional questions, if you need any help, reach out to me directly. I'm here to help. Whether it's call, text, or email, it all goes directly to my cell phone for the most part. So I'll be answering everything the best I can. I'm here to help. I appreciate you guys being tonight. We got 14 people here. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. I'll be here next Wednesday at 8 p.m. And next Wednesday, I believe I'll be on with an Austin realtor. So we're going to compare Texas. We're going to compare Florida. We're going to go head to head. Which is better? Obviously, Florida. But we're going to do that. Jeremy Knight's a great guy. So I'm excited for that next week. Appreciate you guys being. Ooh, I'm sorry. I have a comment here. Let's see here. Oh, my man, Alejandro. What's up, man? How you doing? Appreciate you being here tonight. Hope all is well down south. I'm gonna go cook some food so my wife does not get upset with me. Guys, have a great night. I'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Appreciate you being here.